As you take a look at the longest active win streaks in UFC, it's Volkanovski with 12 and it's Makhachev with 11. And guess what? They're going to fight for the lightweight title. Volkanovski going to fight up in weight classes. Already the featherweight champ, and he's the pound for pound. And what a fight this is going to be. Volkanovski and Makhachev both putting their long, lengthy win streaks on the line. Get some instant analysis. Welcome in CBS Sports combat analyst and co-host of the Sports Podcast of the Year, Morning Combat, Brian Campbell. Main event at UFC 280, Islam Makhachev defeats the submission artist Charles Oliveira himself via second-round submission. Makhachev, coached by Khabib, becomes the undisputed UFC lightweight champ. And BC, some people were wondering why Makhachev was the favorite, but he proved why.
He did. And here's the thing. We were hesitant in calling Makhachev Khabib 2.0. Why? Because there may never be another Khabib. 29-0, dominant, retired on his own terms. But what we saw tonight, that was very Khabib-like from Islam Makhachev. He's a little bit different than his coach and best friend, and I think you saw he might even be a better striker than Khabib in dropping Oliveira with that counter right hand, which set up the finish in round 2. But from start to finish, this was all Makhachev going downhill, taking Oliveira down at will, working top position, not afraid of the submission threat against the most dangerous finisher in UFC history. What Makhachev did and the ease in which he extended his win streak against one of the most red-hot and, again, dangerous fighters we had ever seen. You just don't see this type of dominance every day. A new era has begun, a changing of the guard. But like Khabib's late father and trainer Abdul Banaf once famously said, there will come a day when Khabib steps aside and Islam will be there right behind him. We had a Charles Oliveira era at lightweight in between, but you saw that dominance, you saw the control, the poise. It is Islam Makhachev's time. Yes, the champion at lightweight has a new name. He's from Dagestan.
Yeah, BC, Khabib really becoming now a father figure to these fighters. I mean, it's really cool to see that, the emotion in the cage afterwards. So Makhachev will now put his lightweight title on the line against featherweight champ and the #1 pound-for-pound Alexander Volkanovski, both riding long winning streaks. Volkanovski is going to challenge for his second belt as he fights up in weight class here. BC, who would you make the favorite in this monster fight?
I think you still have to go Islam Makhachev. Does he have the same experience level or accomplishments as Volkanovski? No. Alexander Volkanovski is your long-reigning, battle-tested featherweight champion. He's unbeaten in the UFC since arriving 6 years ago. He's your pound-for-pound #1 in the aftermath of Khabib's retirement. But you saw the difference in size between them. This is Volkanovski daring to be great, but this may be a hill that's, too high to climb at the end of the day. First of all, this matchmaking is a joy for the fans. This is a potential super fight, especially bringing it to Australia, which seems to be the direction UFC wants to go in early 2023, giving Volkanovski, who right now is looking to be an all-time great right in front of our eyes, a chance to become the 5th simultaneous 2-division UFC champion in history. You love the stakes, but that size between them has to be looked at. A 4-inch height advantage for Makhachev, and he has the ability to come in there and disarm you, take away your plan A, sometimes take away the entertainment value, but dominantly win fights. This offers Makhachev the biggest immediate critical opportunity because this fight will be billed as the battle for #1 pound-for-pound. Makhachev just gained entry in that top 10 with the victory over Oliveira. If he beats Volkanovski, you're looking at the best fighter in the game right in front of your eyes just like that. We've never seen two fighters with a double-digit win streak come together before this fight today, Oliveira versus Makhachev. The one against Volkanovski, it's even bigger, so buckle up.
Yeah, Makhachev extends his win streak to 11. Oliveira's 11-fight win streak is over. Now Makhachev facing a guy with one more win in a row than he has. Volkanovski, 12 in a row. Another title on the line in the co-main event on Saturday. UFC bantamweight champ Aljamain Sterling against former 2-time champ TJ Dillashaw. He had not fought in over a year due to a knee injury he suffered in his last fight last year. Suffers another injury in this fight. Dislocated his shoulder. Sterling defeats Dillashaw via second-round TKO to retain the belt. You said on Morning Combat that if Dillashaw was healthy, he wins this fight. He wasn't entirely healthy. What's your takeaway?
This is a bad look overall in the end, and here's what I want to be careful here. Dillashaw was mysteriously absent this week from media obligations, from the public workout. He wasn't even picked up by UFC Embedded Cameras, which is a daily documentary show leading up to the fights. And then when you hear Dillashaw after the fight admit he had basically blown his shoulder out in April, and according to his math, He's dislocated upwards of 20 times in training camp. Look, this is not a fighter who was physically fit to be able to compete for a title here. How he was able to get past the athletic commission and not disclose that, this is not a good look. Nobody wins in a scenario like this where Dillashaw's shoulder popped out of place within seconds of round one, while you give him incredible credit for the heart and grit he showed to survive the 5 minutes of that opening round with Sterling all over his back. To hear him apologize afterwards, saying he didn't want to pull out, he didn't want to hold up the division any longer. Well, here's the deal. He had already held up the division by edging Sandhagen last year, getting that victory to earn the title shot. He needed knee surgery. He was off a full year. This is the deepest division in the sport, maybe even in the history of the sport at the moment. And to see a TJ Dillashaw come in here, yes, looking to make history at 36, trying to become a 3-division champion, but knowing he wasn't physically fit, considering how much UFC embraces betting today, how is that a good look for anyone involved besides Aljamain Sterling, who did what he had to do, got his second title defense? But just like Sterling winning the title from Petr Yan by disqualification, which put a lot of bad taste in people's mouth, nobody really won at the end of the day from this. Dillashaw did not look like he was physically fit to be in this fight, and you saw how it played out.
Yeah, he did. He said it popped out around 20 times during training camp getting ready for this, so not a great look indeed. So now Sterling will try to defend the bantamweight title against Sean O'Malley. That's because Sugar Sean defeats Petr Yan via split decision. Second straight split decision loss, having lost to Aljamain Sterling in April. BC, you had Yan winning this fight, but the decision ultimately goes to O'Malley. What's your reaction to the judges' scorecards?
You know, the reaction's split right here, because let's be honest. O'Malley's got the type of commercial potential that's going to allow him to cut the line, which is why Dana White said heading into this, if either man wins, they get the next title shot. What O'Malley did over these 3 rounds was really silence the doubters who can't get out of their head that 2020 loss to Marlon Vera, where O'Malley got injured, they thought he quit, wasn't acting tough. Well, he turned that around by taking Petr Yan's best shot, rallying in the 3rd round to drop him and bloody him with that flying knee. But did he do enough to win the fight? In the eyes of me, in the eyes of every media score I saw, no. This seemed to be a clear 2-1 victory for Petr Yan. All 3 judges ended up giving O'Malley the 3rd round, but the key part of the dispute is round 1. While it was very close, Petr Yan consistently took O'Malley down, was able to find some success in top position. It appeared like he'd done enough to find 2 rounds for O'Malley, which 2 of the 3 judges did. It's not impossible, but it's a clear benefit of the doubt to the more popular fighter on the rise. I don't want to take credit away from what O'Malley proved. He proves he belongs among the elite in the sport's toughest division. He's not just hype. There's substance there. This was, though, a little bit of a gift in his direction. Hey, the 3 judges ringside have the best view. It's their call. They like Sugar Sean.
Well, let's see if there's going to be enough substance, because Sterling will face O'Malley, getting the chance to fight for his first title. After what you saw from O'Malley on Saturday, does he have enough to beat Sterling for the bantamweight belt?
I think he does, because here's the deal. Like, there's some comparisons between Sean O'Malley to Conor McGregor's rise, right? Because they're both embraced the idea of selling themselves. They've got big audiences, but also, look, McGregor, not a complete fighter, but he can beat you at any given night against any given opponent with his A-game. Sean O'Malley's A-game is fantastic. He's big for this division. He's creative. He showed you that toughness today to be able to take big shots from a former champion, put himself back together, not crumble. He was decent on the ground against an aggressive wrestler. When you look at the matchup, though, with Sterling, you're going to have to favor Aljamain Sterling. He's a spider on the ground. He swallows you up. That is a potential weakness in O'Malley's game. But could O'Malley, who would have the advantage on the feet, control the fight on his terms, get off, hurt, even stop Sterling? Yes, it's in play. The fact that we don't have all the answers on O'Malley are always going to believe some that see the colorful hair, see the tattoos, and think, no, there's no substance there. There really is. Is there enough to win a title? Yes. That doesn't mean O'Malley's completely a well-rounded fighter. But this is a wild game. There's many ways to win and lose. As long as parts of your game are elite, you can get it done. Sean O'Malley, from a striking standpoint, is among the best in this division.
Yeah, 16-1 in his MMA career. So I would say that's a little substance with the style as well there, BC. BC always with the style and the substance here on CBS Sports HQ. Thank you, my friend. You want more style and substance? Check it out, Morning Combat. Sports Podcast of the Year. Have a year, kids. Luke Thomas, Brian Campbell. People's Choice for Sports Podcast of the Year. You can watch the series on YouTube. You can also listen to the podcast on Apple and Spotify. Morning Combat. Download and subscribe today.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.